My name is David DeLuca. I'm a Senior Storage Solutions Architect at Amazon Web Services. Amazon's Simple Storage Service, S3, delivers on-demand storage infrastructure, pay-as-you-go pricing, and virtually unlimited scale. In this video, I will demonstrate how to leverage Amazon S3 Lifecycle policies to optimize storage costs. Amazon S3 offers a range of storage classes designed for different use cases. S3 Standard is designed to provide high durability, availability, and performant object storage for frequently accessed data. S3 Standard is the default storage class for uploads, although you can specify a different storage class when you upload an object. For unknown or changing data access, S3 Intelligent Tiering is designed to optimize costs by automatically moving data to the most cost-effective access tier. S3 Standard Infrequent Access is for data that is less frequently accessed, but still requires rapid access when needed. This makes it ideal for reducing costs while maintaining high performance. Ideal for backup and archive, S3 Glacier provides secure, durable, and low-cost storage that is competitive with or cheaper than on-premises solutions. Data retrieval times range from a few minutes to hours. S3 Glacier Deep Archive is the lowest cost storage class, designed for long-term data retention. It is commonly used for backup, disaster recovery, and an alternative to magnetic tape systems. Data retrieval times range from 12 to 48 hours. S3 One-Zone Infrequent Access is near identical to S3 Standard Infrequent Access. However, while other storage classes store data in a minimum of 3 availability zones, S3 One-Zone IA only stores data in a single availability zone. This can save money for storing secondary backup copies of data or data that can be easily recreated. Finally, Amazon S3 on Outposts delivers object storage to your on-premises AWS Outposts environment to meet local data processing and data residency needs. To manage your objects so that they are stored cost-effectively, configure their S3 lifecycle. An S3 lifecycle configuration is a set of rules that define actions that S3 applies to a group of objects. There are 2 types of actions. Transition actions define when objects transition to another S3 storage class. For example, you might choose to transition objects to S3 Standard Infrequent Access 30 days after they were created, and archive objects to S3 Glacier 90 days after they were created. Expiration actions. These define when objects expire. S3 deletes expired objects on your behalf. S3 supports a waterfall model for transitioning between storage classes, as shown in this diagram. As you can see, lifecycle configurations can only tier down, not up. When you don't know the access pattern of your objects, or your access patterns are changing over time, you can transition the objects to S3 Intelligent Tiering for automatic cost savings. There are factors to consider when creating a lifecycle configuration, such as the minimum storage duration charge. For more information, please review the S3 documentation. By using Amazon S3 Storage Class Analysis, you can analyze storage access patterns to help you decide when to transition the right data to the right storage class. This feature observes data access patterns to help you determine when to transition less frequently accessed data from standard to standard infrequent access. After storage class analysis observes the infrequent access patterns of a filtered set of data over a period of time, you can use the analysis results to help improve your lifecycle policies. Please note that the storage class analysis does not give recommendations for transitions to One-Zone Infrequent Access, Glacier, or Glacier Deep Archive storage classes. S3 Storage Lens is an analytics feature built into the S3 console to help you gain organization-wide visibility into your object storage usage and activity trends, and to identify cost savings opportunities. S3 Storage Lens is available for all S3 accounts, free of charge. If you have buckets that have gone cold, meaning that the storage in those buckets is no longer accessed or rarely accessed, it's often an indicator that the related workload is no longer in use. If you have enabled S3 Storage Lens Advanced Metrics, you have access to activity metrics to understand how hot or cold your buckets are. There are metrics like get requests and download bytes that indicate how often your buckets are accessed each day. You can trend this data over several months to understand the consistency of the access pattern and to spot buckets that are no longer being accessed at all. The percentage retrieval rate metric, computed as download bytes over total storage, is a useful metric to understand the proportion of storage in a bucket that is accessed daily. One of the more interesting visualizations in S3 Storage Lens is the bubble analysis chart on the Bucket tab of the dashboard. Here you can select percentage retrieval rate as one of the metrics, enabling you to plot your bucket on multiple dimensions using any three metrics to represent the x-axis, y-axis, and size of the bubble, as shown here. If you select total storage, percentage retrieval rate, and average object size, and then focus in on any buckets with a retrieval rate of 0 or near 0 and a large relative storage size, you can find buckets that have gone cold and where the storage cost is likely large enough to warrant taking action. The Multipart Upload feature is useful if you have very large objects, greater than 100 megabytes, enabling you to upload a single object as a set of parts, which provides improved throughput and quicker recovery from network issues. However, in cases where you do not complete your multi-part upload process, incomplete parts remain in your bucket and incur storage costs until you choose to complete the upload process or take specific action to remove them. With S3 Storage Lens, you can identify the amount of incomplete multi-part upload bytes in your account or across your entire AWS organization. You can find this metric under the Cost Efficiency tab within the Snapshot section at the top of the Overview tab, as shown here. Lifecycle policies can be used to clean up incomplete multi-part uploads. Let's move on to a demonstration on how to create S3 lifecycle policies. Here we are in the AWS Management Console. S3 is located under the Storage category. For this demonstration, we will use a bucket called S3 Lifecycle Demo. From the Buckets Management tab, we click Create Lifecycle Rule. We give the rule a name. The scope of this rule can be limited to certain prefixes or to objects that have a certain tag. For this demo, we will apply the rule to the entire bucket. We must then acknowledge the warning message that all objects in the bucket will be impacted by this rule. Under Lifecycle Rule Actions, we have the ability to transition current versions of objects between storage classes. We also have the option to expire current versions of objects. For current versions of objects, we may choose to transition to standard and frequent access after 30 days. We could then add a second transition to Glacier after 90 days, and to Glacier Deep Archive after 180 days. Please note the warning message that transitioning objects to Glacier or Glacier Deep Archive will incur a lifecycle request charge per object. We also have the option to expire current versions of objects. Let's set that for 720 days. We can also create a different set of rules for transitioning and permanently deleting previous versions, also referred to as non-current versions of objects. For example, perhaps we transition non-current versions of objects to Glacier 7 days after they become the non-current version. Once again, we must acknowledge the one-time lifecycle request charge per object. We also have the option to permanently delete non-current versions of objects. Let's set that for 90 days after the object becomes the non-current version. Lastly, we can choose to delete expired delete markers or incomplete multi-part uploads. An expired object delete marker is retained if all previous versions of the object expire after deleting a versioned object. This action is not available in our demonstration because we also selected expire current versions of objects. Lastly, You can choose to delete incomplete multi-part uploads. Simply check the box and enter the number of days after the multi-part upload initiation that you want to end and clean up incomplete multi-part uploads. After reviewing the timeline summary, we click Create Rule. This concludes our demonstration of S3 Lifecycle policies. Thank you for your time.